hot chocolate, the way to go. I'm in my building and like this machine over here like makes such good hot chocolates. So I've been like binge drinking them, and yeah, I know it's only still like 70 degrees in LA, but I don't know, I don't drink coffee, so hot chocolates. Anyways, so I want to go over today adding sun flares to your photos, and I think it's a really cool thing to add to your photos. I actually just learned it from my friend Matt Como, who's a really big videographer and photographer. He's a really good friend of mine, and he just showed me how to do it, and I became a huge fan. I've been applying it to a lot of my photos, and I think, you know, every photographer's goal is to, like, you know, help elevate your photography skills like any way you can. So yeah, let's go into it. It's really not that hard. You can really make them your own too, because you can search throughout the internet and search for custom lens flares or sun flares, and you can play and do whatever you want. So let's go in and I'll show you one of my photos, and we're just gonna do it step by step, and then yeah, let's see what you guys come up with. All right, let's do it. All right, so now that we're on the computer, let's open Photoshop. This is the photo that I selected. This is me sitting on the beach about 2 months ago. A buddy of mine took this, and yeah, I wanted to just add some more flair to the photo. So I actually went on Google and I downloaded a few of them, and I actually came up with this one. You can just really go on Google and type in sun flare PNG, and a bunch of them will come up, and you can select the ones that you like. And I like this one a lot. I like this section of it, and I also like, you know, I like the rays a lot as well. So you just basically just gonna take this, drag and drop it over, and because I like this so much, I want this in the photo. I'm just gonna rotate my photo a little bit, and yes, they're still black here. So what we're gonna do is go over to the layer, and then we're gonna click where it says normal, and you're gonna scroll down to screen, and when you screen it, now you can see more of the actual. Now you can see the screen will remove all the black. And actually, I really wanted to drag and drop it kind of a little bit over this mountain right here. And as you can see, as I zoom in a little bit, I like that it's definitely still looks very realistic. And my part of the sun flare that I really liked is still sitting right below me. And we're just gonna hit OK on that. And you can still see the edges right here. So I don't really like seeing the edges. You can make sure you're still on this layer, and you're gonna go up to filter, blur, and you're going to go to Gaussian blur, and if it's going to show you the edges right here in this box, which is nice. You'll see how soft your edges will get, but the more and more you go up, the softer and softer it gets. And I really want to keep like the actual flare in there. So if you go all the way back to 0, you can see the distinct flare. So I'm only going to really do like a little bit to soften it, and I'm still going to have these outer edges, but we can still get rid of those. So I'm probably going to go up to probably end at about 5. We could just type in 5.0, and I'll leave it at that. I think it looks good because when you zoom back out, it definitely still looks very realistic, but you can still see in the sky right here. So let's get rid of that. I'm just going to go over to my eraser tool, and it's going to show you this, like, you know, this X out or the circle with a line through it. But if you click, and it's just going to make it into a smart object, and then once you click OK, you can go back. A big important part of this is making sure your flow is very low, because if you have your flow all the way up, it's just going to cut like a perfect circle out of it, and we don't want that. So I'm going to make sure my flow is pretty low. I'm probably going to put it at about 15. I'm going to make sure my brush is up. I'm going to increase my brush size to probably about like 100. That looks good. So now I can still see that these corners are right here. So let's just kind of slowly move those out, and let's just basically paint over this so it kind of blends in with the sky a little bit more, and it's going to get rid of that. It's going to get rid of that line. So as we're doing that, it looks pretty good, and I can also still see the square down here. So let's kind of roll over that a little bit. So let's kind of make like a curved edge a little bit, and we're going to get rid of that, and let's also get rid of it up here. So I think that looks pretty good. Just gonna kind of just go over the photo a little bit more, and don't actually want to go just over myself a little bit. I'm gonna click a few times to kind of make myself stand out a little bit more, but still leave the back of myself so it looks like the back of the sun. Looks like my back is, since my back is facing the sun, I want to, you know, still leave that curve there. And yeah, let's bring this out a little bit, bring my boots out a little more. I'm just clicking down over and over to kind of really get it going. And yeah, let's zoom back out a little bit. And yeah, I think honestly, I think that looks pretty good so far. And so, you know, before and after, I can still see the line a little bit right here. So let's move that a little bit, especially in dark places, that it's easy to see the filter over it. So let's go back and forth. I think that looks pretty good. And I might just do one run over this in case. I don't like that. I'm gonna hit Command Z to undo that. Maybe just in the mountain a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. I think that looks good. Cool. And then also I just call this the rainbow. I also downloaded this from Google, and I'm going to drag and drop this myself onto it. I'm going to rotate it because since the sun is facing this way, and if the lens is this way, I think it's going to wrap around the bottom of the lens. So added this. Let's scroll down a little bit. Let's add that. We're going to do the same thing, make sure the layer is selected, and we're going to go to screen and also convert this to a smart object. And let's rotate this a little bit more. And then obviously that looks pretty crazy, so we're going to change the opacity of this to probably about, I want to say probably about, like, let's do 20 and see how that looks. We're going to need more. Let's do 30. Let's do like 50 then. I think that looks pretty good right now. And while you're still stuck on this layer, we're going to go back to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur again. And I think we're going to change this to about like 30. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. You kind of really see it a little bit, but I want to make sure it's just smooth because we can always bring it up with the opacity. And yeah, you know, I honestly think that looks pretty cool just like that. I think this is definitely something I would leave. And to also match the color correction of your photo, you can also just go onto image, auto color, and then it's going to brighten up like this, and then you can go back down and change the opacity again. So now it kind of fits more of the color correction that I've done to this photo. And yeah, I think that's it. I think this looks awesome. Yeah, so like that's just how I do it. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it, I'm sure, on Photoshop. This is just the way that I was taught, and I love it. It's, as you guys saw, it's very simple. It's really easy to do. It doesn't take that long, and you can be really creative because you're kind of just dragging and dropping and then screening it, as we just went over. And yeah, I'd love to see what you guys do. If you guys want to tag me on Instagram and share your photos with me, I'd love to see them. I'd love to connect with you guys. And this channel is just getting started, so I'm definitely making a lot more of these. If you guys have any recommendations on stuff you'd like to know, comment below and I can try and make a video about it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.